Hi, everyone. Welcome to Level Up Live and happy Thursday. Thursday. Wow. Did I just say it's Thursday? Long week. Happy Tuesday. um, and I hope everyone who had a day off yesterday got to have a little bit of rest. And if you didn't have a day off yesterday, we'll talk about that at the end of the call because you probably need one. So I am going live in the I Should Be Writing Facebook group. If you're following me right now, maybe hit a like or even comment below where you're from, where you're watching from. And if you are watching this on the replay, please comment hashtag team replay so that we can know when people were watching us. So today I was actually going to do a completely different topic, but this morning I woke up and I read an article that I've read before and that really, really resonates with me. And I'll stick the article into the comments, but you can very easily Google it because it's got a very, very descriptive name title. It is called All Career Advice for Women is Gaslighting. And I feel just so strongly about this because I am in a position where I can give a lot of career advice. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about this. And, this is something that we really need to address. So just sort of thinking about it, when you are at work, you get so much advice from people, whether it's to be assertive but also be nice, or to change your voice. Maybe the pitch is too high, or you've got vocal fry, or you try to lower your voice and you sound like Elizabeth Holmes, and then everybody sort of forgets what they're thinking about and is just listening to the sound of your voice. You are told to negotiate your salary or negotiate promotion, but at the same time, you don't want to piss anybody off. And then also, it's really important to remember that a lot of this conflicting advice is so much worse for women of color because they're constantly being told that we're too loud or too angry or too assertive. It's a double bind that we're put into where we want to seem competent and good at our jobs, but we also have to seem nice for whatever reason. And so, we are sort of told to become contortionists or shapeshifters or chameleons. And one of the really, really tangible effects of this is that it's hard to do our own work and to fill our own containers when we're just constantly sort of dealing with this conflicting advice. And so actually, I'm going to grab something here. I have this book, Lean In. It's been on my shelf for forever. And I actually have chosen not to read this, not because I don't like Sheryl Sandberg, but because it is a really, really good example of the kind of career advice that can sometimes be really, really damaging. So just to kind of give you an idea, there's a lot of career advice out there that kind of creates this do-it-yourself mentality. Like, if there's a problem at work, you can take care of it. You can resolve this issue by being a little bit nicer or talking more loudly or, raising your hand more in meetings or, whatever it is. And this is advice that has trickled down from a male-dominated work culture. And it's the male-dominated work culture of academia that has really made it difficult to succeed in the first place. And so, we are constantly doing this calculation, like, is it me? Is it the system? Why am I not doing as well as my male colleagues when I'm taking all of the advice that everyone is giving me, or I'm trying to take the advice that everyone is giving me? And so, again, this is really meaningful to me because when I am talking to clients about their work culture or about that feeling of overwhelm or that double bind that they feel themselves in, I really want to make sure that the kind of advice that I'm giving and the kinds of things that we're talking about are not detrimental to anyone's mental health, because I think that that is the real consequence of having all of this career advice sort of thrown at us, is that sometimes we can believe that it is all our fault and the responsibility falls on us. And so I am here to tell you that it does not all fall on you, and that it is not you, it is the system. And this is really important to remember, because we are not only working to advance our careers in academia, we're also working to change academia so that this is not the kind of thing that our children or grandchildren have to deal with. And so books like Lean In will really give you that sense of control over your own career. But the issue with that is that it also places the responsibility on us to solve these workplace issues of inequality. And those are two really difficult things to do at the same time, to advance in your career and to also kind of tear down the system that you're advancing in at the same time. So what does this mean for us? What does this mean for me as a coach? And what does this mean for all of you as academics, as academic women that are working in a white supremacist, capitalist, male-dominated system? How do we navigate that system while at the same time preserving our careers? Because of course, the only way that you can work on that system is from the inside as a faculty member or some other member of the university community. So when you are thinking about your career, which I'm sure that many of you are if you're on this website, if you're on this Facebook page, first of all, I want you to remember that these are messages that we've been getting since we were children. And now is the time to call out those messages. So a lot of times there are things that are just so subtle that they're really difficult to point out and to notice. But a lot of it isn't very subtle. And one of the things that we need to do is to recognize those messages and to call them out. Now, of course, anyone who is in a situation where they feel sort of precarious and they don't want to make those kinds of big moves, I think the other thing that you can do is to identify those messages personally and sort of create a container for them. These are the potentially very damaging messages that I am getting from my workplace, and they go over here. So I hear them and I recognize them and I understand them, but I'm going to put them aside because it is not always good for me to work with them in my mind. And then the other thing that we can do, and that I certainly spend a lot of my time and energy doing as a coach, is to really carefully change the tone and the message of the advice that I give, because there is really only so much that you can do. And then there's a certain point when the male-dominated system that we're working in sort of takes over. And so I want to remind all of you that yes, you are doing your best work and that you are working very hard and that you are not lazy and that there is nothing wrong with you and that you're working in a system that does not have your best interests in mind. The system was not created for women. It wasn't created for women of color. It wasn't created for mothers. It wasn't created for women with disabilities. It wasn't created for non-binary people. And so we have to remember that you can do your very best work and there still will be a system that does not believe in you and does not promote you and that is very bad at motivating you to do your best work. And so I want you to remember that, not because it's sad or frustrating or upsetting, but because it means that not all of that responsibility is yours. And so you can take a little bit of that weight off of your shoulders. And, the last two things that I will say about this, because, this is obviously, this is not the usual piece of advice that I would give, 5 tips to write more, etc. This is really just sort of thinking about how we can keep ourselves as mentally and emotionally healthy as possible while going through all of this work in a system that doesn't love us. And so the last two things that I will say is that with any amount of power that we have in the university, in the academic community in general, we have to try to call out a lot of those messages and make them very clear and advocate for changes. You know, if there are specific changes, if they're just sort of big, sweeping like thoughts about change within the university, we have to be active in advocating for those. And the very last piece of advice is that personally, we have to give ourselves a break because today I just had 3 one-on-one calls all together, and really the through line of those is that we're not giving ourselves enough of a break. We're not trusting our instincts. We're not believing in ourselves, and those are things that again we have been socialized to do, to believe that our work is not as good as a man's work, or to believe that we are imposters and that everyone else is qualified and we're not. And so, so really what I want to remind all of you is that you're doing a good job. You're doing an excellent job, but you know, you have that double bind of being socialized as a woman or non-man in academia, and trying to climb a ladder that wasn't built for you. So, so as you go along this week, and I know a lot of you are starting your teaching and getting back into kind of the academic year, just please remember that your voice sounds fine, that what you're wearing is fine, that you are both nice and that you are both smart, and that that when the day is over, the work that you do for yourself is the most important work that you're doing, the work that comes from you, the work that you believe in, the work that falls into your mission. And just a quick plug for our Amplify program, which I think is one of the best ways to avoid burnout, to really be able to manage both that onslaught of male-dominated career advice and to actually move forward in your career. And one of the most important parts of the program are our mastermind calls, when you get to interact with other women who are having exactly the same experience as you are, and you get to recognize once again that you are doing amazing work, and it's just that you're swimming upstream. So if you're interested in talking about the Amplify program, you know, drop a comment here or contact any of us, or check out our website. Maybe I'll drop the link to the Amplify program in there, because one of the best ways that we can work against this system that, again, wasn't made for us, is to create communities for ourselves to support and lift the rest of us up. So thank you, and I hope that this gave you a little bit of hope, and have a great rest of the day.